Shabbat Shalom to everybody online.
Shabbat Shalom.
To everybody here in attendance. This is the Hebrew Chosen Elect Sabbath class. Hope everybody's week was well. First off, I want to start by giving all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, our Father, in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shah Hamashiach, died on the cross for our sins. Today, we're going to be going over, it's going to be a reading today, because as we all should know, if we don't already, we have upcoming feast of Purim. The 23rd at even will be the feast of Purim. So, first let's start off. Let's get the Job 8 and 8. So we're going to go through a reading. Probably it'll take the next couple of weeks up into the feast day Purim. And it's important that we all understand and know why we keep these feast days. And unlike the world, we keep the feast days of the Most High according to as what's written and we can find in His holy scriptures, right? So, like I said, it is very important that we understand why we do what we do, and we go through and we learn what the feast days are about, how they came to be, and what they represent, what's required of them. That way we're keeping them according to the ways that the Most High wants us to keep them. Yeah. So that's what we're going to be doing the next couple of weeks, is going through this reading. The same way for the Feast of Dedication, we did the reading leading up to that. We read through Maccabees about, I think we did 2 weeks of that, right?
But
we're going to try and do that for every feast day. That way when the feast day comes, we know what they represent and how they came to be and how we're to keep and observe. So whenever you got that.
The book of Job, chapter 8, verse 8. For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age.
So that, real quick, so the Most High says, inquire of the former age. And all these feast days, that's what we're doing, is when we're learning about these feast days, we're inquiring into the former age. Because that's when these feast days were given to us. Long before we was ever put in captivity here in America, we received these feast days, and we can get the account of them in the scriptures. So that's what we're doing right now. We're inquiring of the former time.
Job 8 and 8.
Job 8 and 8. Go ahead.
For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers.
So, and that's what we're doing. We're preparing ourselves, and we're getting in the book and searching our fathers. Searching the things that were handed down to our fathers to hand down to us by the Most High. And unless you got something on that, you can drop it.
That's pretty much it.
Okay. So that's what we're doing today. And we're going to do the next couple of weeks as we prepare for the feast day. We're going to go through this reading and see how it came to be. And, learn and search our forefathers. And learn all the mighty works that our forefathers and foremothers did. And in this book, the book of Esther, it's a whole lot of meat in the book of Esther.
Yes, sir.
There's a lot of things going on in the book of Esther. So it's a book of history, right? It's not, so much as like the law, thus saith the Lord and all that. This is a book of history. This is really going to give us an account of our, that search. The search of the forefathers. We go in here and we see a period of time of an oppression we was going through then, similar to the one we're going through now. Yeah. And that what we're going to find is, a lot of it's the same, some of the same players are in it. If I don't want to assume everybody knows, so, the main adversary in the book of Esther is Esau. And who's our main adversary today? Esau. It's the kingdom at the time is the Persians. So we're going to start at 1-1 at the Persians, which that's not our main adversary again. We're not really dealing with a lot from the Elamites. That's who they be, I believe. The Persians and Elam, right? Elam. Yeah, kind. We're not really dealing with a lot of dramas from them. Although they're still on top of us, just like all the nations are on top of us. But we're in that last captivity of Esau right now. We're gonna find it in this time, even before Esau was on top of the world, he was still trying to get it in Jacob. He was still trying to, destroy his brother Jacob. Why? Because we got that blessing. Even though he sold it to us, but Esau is the most profane. He's the most unrighteous. He was blessed with the sword, and he uses all those things to his utmost ability.
Come.
Go ahead and start with that chapter 1. Let's go to chapter 1, verse 1.
The book of Esther,
Look up
chapter 1, verse 1. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus. Ahasuerus is Xerxes, whoever don't know, Xerxes, that was the Persian Empire. Artaxerxes, Xerxes in the movie 300.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus, this is Ahasuerus which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 127 provinces. That in those days.
So real quick. So just to give a time frame, this is the like I said before, this is the king of the Persians. This is around the time of 465 to 424 BC. 465 to around 424 BC. Because you had Darius. It's a real quick history lesson. Darius defeated, it's around the time roughly 465 to 424 BC.
Okay,
BC time.
Okay, so what time frame is it? 465?
Huh?
Because when you say 465 and then say 4.
Well, remember BC time goes from zeros backwards.
Oh, backwards.
So,
okay.
So when you're seeing time go forward in BC, I might say it wrong, but when you see numbers decrease in BC time, that's time going forward.
Come.
Okay.
Because zero is the middle. So we're 2,000 years past zero. So 2000 BC would be 2,000 years before zero. So 465 BC would be 465 years before zero. So from there to 424 BC, he reigned. Yeah. So it kind of subtracts until you get to zero, and then it goes forward.
Okay. So I was thinking adding.
Yeah, that's how BC works. So like, I don't know, the garden is what, like 3,000 BC or something. I might be wrong, but it's a few thousand years the other way. So everything BC time, if the time's moving forward, is subtracting. So this is roughly that time. Quick history lesson. So before the Persians, we had the Babylonians.
That's right.
Right? And Darius is the king. Darius is the king, and before the Babylonians, the Assyrians. Right? I believe that's the order. Right. So Darius, the king of the Persians, he conquered Nebuchadnezzar. Then came the first Darius. Then came Cyrus, who gave the decree to build back the temple. Right? Everybody's familiar with that. Then after him came one of his sons, who put it in motion to stop that building. We're going to go into that. That's going to be a whole nother lesson. But so the building got stopped. Like the whole building back the temple in the city, it wasn't like a straight thing that happened. So you had Cyrus gave a decree. Then one of his sons that took over after him stopped the building. And then came after him Darius, who the second Darius, who got the building back going again. And also gave the decree to go and build the city, finish the temple. And then with Nehemiah and I believe Xerxes he gave the decree for Nehemiah to go back and build the walls in the city. So then you come up to Artaxerxes, who came after Xerxes the first. And that's where we're at here with this story, with these guys, with Esther and this king. So it's all like the same kingdom, the same time period. But just Darius, Cyrus, Xerxes, then Darius again, and then Artaxerxes, right? So that's where we're at now, and that's where this story, the time frame that this story takes place, 465 to 424 BC time, under the captivity of the Persians and Medes, right? Okay. Go ahead.
Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus. This is Ahasuerus which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 127 provinces. That in those days, when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan, the palace, in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces being before him, when he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty many days, even 180 days. And when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in Shushan, the palace, both unto great and small, 7 days in the court of the garden of the king's palace, where were white, green, and blue hangings fastened with cords of fine linen and purple to silver rings and pillars of marble. The beds were of gold and silver upon a pavement of red and blue and white and black marble. And they gave them drink in vessels of gold, the vessels being diverse one from another, and royal wine in abundance according to the state of the king.
Yeah.
And the drinking was according to the law, none did compel. For so the king had appointed to all the officers of his house, that they should do according to every man's pleasure. Also Vashti, the queen, made a feast for the women in the royal house which belonged to King Ahasuerus. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, Abgatha, Zethar, and Carcass, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal, to show the people and the princess her beauty, for she was fair to look upon.
Real quick, so just pause right there. So these heathens, they really doing it up. And when we read this story, you know, they really, everything's real lavish. And, you know, it makes me, who's seen The Wedding Crashers? Everybody seen that movie?
Yeah, we saw it.
So, you know how they having the wedding feast, they got the tents up. It kind of reminds me of that. All the top figures is there. You know, all the people is there, and they turning up, and they drinking, and they partying, and they, it said 100 and some days of feasting.
That's a long
So it
time.
said 7 days of feasting.
What? Yeah, but before they feasting for a while. Maybe it's in the Apocrypha, but so right now though they're in 7 days of feasting. But the whole feast, it was like having a feast season, kind of like the rich today do. They have their little, you know, they got the wine thing here, they this there, you know. But they really doing it up. Nobody is. There's no Sabbath with them. There's no honoring the Most High. All of this is in honor of their kingdom and the how they've taken over the world, the status that they've reached. That's what it's about for the heathen.
Yes, sir.
And what we see here though is Artaxerxes is calling for his wife to do what? To show her to everybody. This is the mind state that the heathens are in.
Wow.
That's the mind, and so you see, that's kind of the vibe of the earth today. It's all about how good your woman looks, how good a woman looks. Yeah, eye candy, showing off a woman's beauty and her body, and not being ashamed to show what you got. That's why now Barbie's even making dolls that are like different body types, right? They got the chubby Barbie, they got the thick Barbie, they still got the slim and slender Barbie. And, yeah, and then you know you got women in celebrities like what's that real big one? Thank you, Lizzo. You got the Lizzos that are trying to make women to feel good in their own skin. You know, now you ain't even gotta be in good shape no more to show everything you got. Just be proud of who you are. Show what you have. You know, it's off. And we can see though that this comes from that heathen mind state. This heathen king, he wanted to show off his queen to everybody. He wanted everybody to see how beautiful his woman is. When your woman is supposed to be for you.
Come.
The beauty of your woman is supposed to be for your eyes.
Only for yours.
Yeah. The parts of her body that makes you desire is supposed to be for you to desire, not for somebody else to desire. You're supposed to be a covering to your woman. Real quick, let's go to Genesis chapter 21 and 5. Because before Israel was even a nation, we had our forefather Abraham. We had our forefathers before that. He was always a righteous seed. And that's not how things was for us. That's not the way that we move. And even society understood these things. So read that.
The book of Genesis, chapter 121, verse 5. And Abraham was 100 years old.
No, 15. No, 15.
15, 115. That's a lot. The book of Genesis, chapter 21, verse 15. And the water, no, that's not it.
16. 2016, sorry.
And she went and sat her down over against him a good way.
Where you at, 20?
21?
No, 20 I said.
20.
2016, but
Slide.
go ahead, started 15,
Uh-oh.
started 14, just because context.
The book of Genesis, chapter 20,
So 14 to
verse
16.
14.
We're going to 16.
And Abimelech took sheep and oxen and men servants and women servants and gave them unto Abraham and restored him Sarah his wife. And Abimelech.
So at this time, Sarah and Abraham had came to the kingdom, and this is when Abraham said, Sarah's my sister, and she
Right.
agreed, right? And then Abimelech found out that no, Sarah is not your sister, she's your wife, and he's restoring her. Okay, go ahead.
And Abimelech said, Behold, my land is before thee, dwell where it pleaseth thee.
Right.
And unto Sarah he said, Behold, I have given thy brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Behold, he is to thee a covering of the eyes.
And notice he's still saying your brother, right? A lot of people get it misconstrued that Abraham lied. Abraham didn't lie. If you go to Tobit, even told his son before he marries his wife, says, I take my sister not for lust. So Abraham never lied. He wasn't speaking in the context of actual blood brother or sister. That's all. But go ahead. So he's restoring her and giving Abraham all these riches. Go ahead.
Behold, he is to thee a covering of the eyes.
So what?
A covering of the eyes.
See that? Abraham is a covering to the eyes. Go ahead. Of who?
Unto all that are with thee.
So everybody in this camp.
Unto all that are with thee.
So all the men in the room.
With all other.
And with all others. So you are supposed to be a covering to the eyes of your woman. Meaning what? Meaning that the simple fact of you have a man, we're no longer looking at you because you have a man. It's a spiritual covering over a woman. Aside from the physical covering. A woman that is already taken and has a man. That's why when Christ came back and he said what? He that looketh on a woman for lust have committed adultery already.
And it's hard.
We know that, or we should know, that don't mean that you can't lust after a woman. Then we wouldn't procreate. If you didn't, because who wants to even be around a woman if you don't desire her in that way? We're like, we're total opposites, men and women. We're not trying, like they talk about things and like things that they like, and we like things that we like, and they don't like what we like, and we don't like what they like. So you've looked on a woman for lust that doesn't belong to you and already belongs to somebody else.
Okay.
Now you've committed adultery because that man is supposed to be a covering of the eyes for those that's his fellows or whatever, his
Coveting and
yeah,
everything as well.
and all others. You are a covering. She is covered, right? But we see, you finish that? She was reproved. So we can drop that and go back. So we see though that the heathen, they don't operate that way.
No.
The heathen they don't know the Most High. They don't know His ways. In Micah chapter 4, it lets you know that they never knew. They don't know your ways, right?
Amen.
So the heathen, they don't understand these things. They think that it's a good thing to show off their woman. That's why we have the world the way it is today, because the earth is given into the hands of who? The wicked.
The adversary.
Right. Even in these times, so the wicked was ruling the earth, and we can see the mind state that they're in. Oh, I got the best woman in the land. I got to show everybody. Nah. See, the rest of the land shouldn't know who the best woman in the land no more, because she belongs to you. But that's not how the heathen move, because they don't know the ways of the Most High. They don't know righteousness. Go ahead.
Ahasuerus commanded the
Where
seven
we at?
chamberlains.
Where we at?
Hold up, I'm at 11. He commanded the seven chamberlains to serve the presence of Ahasuerus the king, to bring Vashti, the queen, before the king with the crown royal, to show the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look upon. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. Then the king said to the wise men, which knew the times, for so was the king's manner toward all that knew law and judgment. And the next unto him was Karshina, Shethor, Admatha, Tarshish, Meres, Marcina, and Memucan, the seven princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which sat the first in the kingdom. What shall we do unto the queen Vashti according to law, because she hath not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlains? And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen hath not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in the provinces of the king Ahasuerus.
Okay, so stop there. So now we're seeing something else though. So at the same time, the king, he's off because he wants to show off his woman. At the same time though, man, his woman's off too.
Yeah, she's not being submissive.
Yeah,
She's
because
not,
go ahead.
she not showing honor to her head and her covering, because he's requesting her presence.
Is Vashti?
Vashti's his wife.
Israelite?
Nah.
Or is she just a heathen woman?
Vashti just another
Yeah,
heathen
from what
woman.
we know, she's another heathen woman.
Right.
Right. But still the same, once again, there is a universal law that God gave before. I mean, he gave it to the first woman, right? Genesis chapter 2. Or 3, sorry. 3 and 16.
No, Genesis.
Yeah. From Adam and Eve, the Most High, he gave a law to women.
The book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow, and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband.
And what?
And thy desire shall be to thy husband.
So your desire shall be, so you should desire, it should be something you want to do to please your husband. Your desire should be to thy husband. Right? Go ahead.
And he shall rule over
And
thee.
he shall rule over thee. That's plain and simple. It's plain and simple. He shall rule over thee. Women like to say, I'm gonna follow if he leads correctly, or want to set standards to how and when they're gonna follow their husband. Nah, you were supposed to set that standard before you let him take you. If you want to have a standard, you're supposed to have a standard before you lay down with him. Before you accept him as your husband, that's when you set your standards. Because once he's that, the Most High said he shall rule over thee.
And he is the standard.
And he is the standard. That's why when you look into the story of we can go back. When you look into the story of Nabal and Abigail, it tells you plain straight out that Nabal was a wicked man, and that Abigail had understanding. But Abigail still wasn't putting herself over top of her husband. She wasn't, and even when she went behind his back, you know, basically to save her and the rest of everybody in the underneath of his house, she did that, you know, low key. She wasn't all out about it. She did that behind his back, but she was real humble and discreet about it. A woman today, she gonna tell Nabal, yeah, you tripping, nigga.
Good.
Yeah. What's she gonna say?
Real talk.
Yup.
Real talk.
I'm gonna, you know, try to keep my language PG rated. You messing up for everybody, but it really would have been effing up for everybody. And, and you a ain't-ish nigga, and you know all types of you know what's the word?
Debauchery.
Now, Abigail, she didn't do that though, because she wasn't of that mind state. She knew something had to be done, but she was discreet about it. She carried it the right way.
She was chaste.
Yeah.
She was Proverbs 31, 10 through 31.
Yeah. So once again, though, the heathen, they don't know the Most High's ways. They don't know righteousness. So you got to, and then also, as the king is, as the judge is, so will be the people. So you got this king who doesn't know the right way, right? And then his woman doesn't know the right way. I'm gonna show off my woman to the world. The woman's like, he told me to do something, and you know I don't feel like doing it, so I'm not gonna do it. But when that happens, though, what it's saying here, though, he went to the princes, basically his wise men, and they letting him know, you know, where we at, 16?
16, yeah.
What the Vashti the queen had done wrong, not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in all the provinces of the king Ahasuerus or the Xerxes.
And she's in a position of power where she sets the example to the other women throughout the provinces. So when the women see her act like this towards the king, yeah, I mean, it's like the women sitting there watching Atlanta Housewives or something, and they want to reenact this to their men that's going on, like you bring it up to the date. That's what's going on pretty much here. They like, okay, she ain't listening to him, we ain't gonna listen either.
Exactly. And you said loving hip hop, or growing up hip hop, or whatever. You name it. All them shows is women that have no respect. Women that wasn't brought up to, you know, submit to a man. And not only that, they just prideful and lewd. And that's the example. So you got that on TV, right? The women that people put up at a high, you know, on a high level, that's what they gonna follow. So the same way in this time, this is the queen, the king's wife. Everybody else in the kingdom is gonna follow suit. The women are gonna hear about what Vashti did. Well, Vashti, she's the queen. Vashti don't gotta listen to the king. I ain't gotta listen to this dude here. He's cleaning up lamb dung. Why I gotta listen to him? He's shoveling lamb dung and bringing back pennies.
Not only that, it's a feast set forth where it's everybody, great and small, to see her on a wide stage. So this is a time of feasting that's going on throughout all the provinces, and this is on the grand stage, and she disrespecting her husband.
So everybody's gonna copy that. Same way you got the Lizzos in the world. They look, she ain't got to put on clothes, and everybody like her. I can come to work that way too.
Yeah.
It's the same then. It's the same now. So we can go ahead. Unless you got something.
Verse 16. And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti the queen have not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes and to all the people that are in all the provinces of King Ahasuerus. For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes. When it shall be reported, the king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not. Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes which have heard of this deed of the queen, thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath.
And also, look, Esau, why do you think that Esau puts out laws that say, like, we'll give you a house and pay your bills as long as you don't let the man in the house? Because Esau, the devil, he knows the Bible. He don't got the understanding, but he got the Bible too. And he knows that, okay, I can put out a little bait out there and the women gonna bite. I can bring havoc in the home. And that's another way that I can destroy the Jews. Go ahead.
Verse 19, if it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it be not altered, that Vashti come no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she. And when the king's decree, which he shall make, shall be published throughout all the empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small.
So so now they're going, because Vashti couldn't do it, they going, if the example set that it won't be taken, they gonna get an order.
Not only that, you're gonna get rid of her, you know what I mean? That's a part of our laws too. If she don't go as you please, you know what I mean, cut her off, withhold thy flesh, give her a clean bill. And that's what he did. He gave her a clean bill right there in front of everybody, since she wanted to be that example. So he made the example of her.
I'm sure this wasn't the first time as well.
Yeah, probably
This
wasn't.
probably wasn't the first time. Because if it happens once, you shouldn't give a bill for that.
Yeah, she probably was over.
Yeah, like one time, you could correct that. This is probably like something she does on a regular, especially, and she's got that queen mind.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the queen. People, they have to take my orders. And him, I know he's feasting and drunk all day, every day.
Yep.
Man, he's a proxy king. I'm the one really in charge around here. All the knights and the chamberlains, they come to me on the low. They come to me because the king, he over there partying. I'm the one really making the moves.
And this is?
This is the Esther reading.
Yeah. No, I just want to make a point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that's true. See, it had to build up to the point where Esther was going to come in, and Vashti had to disappear.
Time.
So more than likely, it probably was a build-up. Understand? And he the king probably said, was fed up and said, that's it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to take this no more. Because you got to remember, spiritually, Esther had to come into play so that we could be delivered from that old wicked plot of Haman. Understand? So the Most High, so more than likely, just like, for example, husbands and wives, right? Especially in Israel. Your wife could come against you, maybe disrespect you one time. Is that a reason to divorce her?
No, not one time.
No, not one time. No. Now, if she does it, multiple times, okay, I can see that. So more than likely, it wasn't built up to something. But then, of course, the Most High was in play, because Esther had to come in, right, and play the role to actually, through Mordecai, save Israel from that wicked plot. So it's probably more likely, like you said, a build-up, and he was probably fed up, and that was it. Then Esther comes right on in there. You gotta remember, Esther did what? She prayed, she fasted. How long did she fast? About
3 days.
3 days?
Yes.
3 days? She fasted for 3 days. So the fact that Vashti was, dismissed by the king, it played right into the Most High's, what the Most High wanted, and brought Esther right up in there. And remember, Esther didn't touch nobody. She didn't touch a man for 6 months. Y'all remember that too?
Yeah,
Part
yeah.
of cleansing, right?
The cleansing
Like,
process.
like, yeah, to be pure, yeah, purify herself.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it was definitely all the work. It's all the Most High moving the chess pieces around. You know, and
This is like the BC spirit of women's lib.
women's lib,
And how we deal with it, equality.
right? Yeah, I mean, that spirit has been here for a long time. Even back then, in the Most High, he'll take that and he'll use it. He'll use it to move the chess pieces, like the elders say. So this woman, she probably was already, you know, that type of mind state. She thought she was somebody.
Yeah, she was high-minded. I mean, she was throwing a feast for the women separate from the feast that he had anyway.
Exactly.
They sitting there, they was acting like Atlanta housewives, pretty much sitting there getting drunk and stuff. Man, these niggas ain't issue, you know what I mean? That's how they was getting along. Sitting there drinking the best wines, you know. They was thrown off. They was sitting there becoming Spaniards. You know what I mean? They was drunk.
And in my era growing up, that even though that we're under the oppressive hand of the heathen, they watched Israel. See, because there was a time in our house that we did what our parents said.
Yeah.
We even looked at it and said, what is it that these poor people can do to manage their kids that we can't? So they study us. So he studied and he could see the fruit of how Israel got down there under his thumb.
Yeah.
So he looks at a brother that tells his wife and she's humble to himself and she's respectful, that's what he wants in his woman. So
Yeah.
he'll adopt those customs. He'll create a similitude for his own.
Yeah, and then try to destroy yours.
So he may not know the law, but he see the law in effect because he has it under his thumb.
Get Psalms 9:15.
Song?
If you could. Psalms 9:15.
I had one too.
What you got?
I had the book of Sirach, chapter 26, verse 8. Well, let me start at
Start
7.
it out first.
All right, the book of Sirach, chapter 26, start verse 7. And it says, an evil wife is a yoke shaken to and fro. He that hath hold of her is as though he held a scorpion. A drunken woman and a gatherer abroad causeth great anger, and she will not cover her own shame. So right there, like, she wasn't trying to cover her shame at all. She was straight up being disrespectful. And you know, she had caused Ahasuerus straight up to be angry. You know what I mean? So he's going to move her out the way.
Yeah. And everybody and the princes really, because they like, oh nah, nah, our ribs gonna act like that.
Right.
But
when you check it out,
9
even though Esther, she became the queen, but she became the queen in righteousness, even though it was another nation, right? But in righteousness, so that Israel can be actually saved. The Most High she had to play that role so that Israel can be saved. So it's not that, you know, like she wanted to marry somebody from another nation, but she had to go into that role for the salvation of Israel.
And further down the reading, it's going to say pretty much that she was listening to Mordecai's command. That's it tells us in the story. We'll get to it. It tells us she always did the commandments of Mordecai.
That was her uncle, right?
Yeah. Yep. And kind of like her father, at least in that role, because her parents had died.
Yeah, he was.
Her parents had died, so he was in that role.
Uncle.
And you know, he let her know all the things to do, to you know, go along with it, not to reveal her nation. You know, the whole time Mordecai's on top of it.
Because
he's working things out of his head before they happen.
She wasn't really listening to what the king had to you know, do and tell her to do. She was really listening to Mordecai.
Yeah.
She was listening to Mordecai to help her nation overcome, you know, what the plot. That's what she was really doing. So Mordecai said, look, you got to marry King Ahasuerus and be queen, and that's what she had to do. Understand what I'm saying? For the salvation of Israel. So she didn't want to do it, right?
Nah,
because she knew the law. She was a highly righteous woman.
Yeah.
But she had to do what she had to do.
She said, I despise this crown.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
It's in
The additions.
It's gonna be in the additions when we get to that part. Yeah, she said she don't think nothing of this position. But we
Right.
see with Vashti, she thought much of it. She's having her own feast. And she's lifting her own head up because of the position she's in. But Esther, she's like you said, she ain't even care for none of that. She's just doing it because it's what she has to do.
Which she had. Unlike today, how you got the black women marrying other nations now. They're not doing it for their own nation. They're doing it because for wealth, for money, for prestige, or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's a big difference.
Like look at Eve.
Yeah.
Eve got a nice little position in society. She got money.
Right.
She on movies. But who she get with? What's he? Indian or
I thought it was Esau.
Esau? Okay. I knew she was one of them, either Esau or Elam. But yeah, she could have got with she could have got with Boosie or somebody. Like like the other.
Got with another rapper or something.
Yeah, like that's
But look who she chose. But is she trying to help her nation? No.
Even
Nah,
Lauren London.
she ain't giving a thought to this nation at all.
No.
A lot of women that you see, like when you see them with these other nations, and we done seen it at camp, especially when we was down there in Tampa, like you can't even look in your face.
No.
They with these other nations, they know this, man. We do scared to walk past camp and everything.
Yeah.
We bring out scriptures, but you scared to walk past us, and we doing everything in righteousness. We ain't attacking you or nothing.
Right.
We showing our people who we truly are, and you scared to walk past us. And we presenting a walkway for you. Get out the way for you scared to walk past us.
Yeah.
Because we just got that dominance about us.
And there's a guilt, man.
It's guilt.
There's a guilt in the mind, like
They know they wrong.
Like Esau's on top of the world, but she want to get with the Jake man. So you already got the Jake man, but you want to get with Esau. You know you off.
Right.
The woman that's already up on high wants to lower herself.
Right.
Like so, it's all about money and position and just all being wicked already, having a wicked heart, really.
That goes with the tennis player. What's her name?
Serena or
Yeah.
Serena.
And Janet Jackson.
Yeah. And ain't Oprah with Esau, right? It's
No,
Oprah with Jacob.
she go with Stedman. She got a
Stedman's
black
Jacob.
woman.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, but the other ones though,
Yeah.
like they don't even need that, but they still go that route.
What's the other one? Lopez. Jennifer Lopez.
Lopez.
Oh yeah, she back with Ben Affleck.
But I can tell you,
Corny Ben Affleck.
Oprah ain't really with Stedman. She's with him, but she's not with him.
He's just a figurehead.
She didn't dealt with Harvey Weinstein and all the media Mike.
Yeah, I think she a knuckle dragger.
Yeah, she did.
So,
They didn't pass.
I think
Well,
she a knuckle
like
dragger.
it was nothing. Come on.
A knuckle dragger.
What's that?
She likes women, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, the elders
So
call
he
her.
in front.
I think so. Like they,
Well, that came out to.
You see that knockout punch she had in the color purple, man. That wasn't no regular knockout punch. That was a butch punch. But yeah, so where you at?
We at 20.
Real quick.
I think, stupid.
What's up?
What happened to the songs y'all was
Real quick, we're going to Psalms 9 and 15.
Go ahead, bring it
This,
up. Darren, bring
I'm
it up.
going to show the Most High would use the, he'll take use judgment to make other moves in play. So, like, to show the judgment, Vashti going off, and she about to get that judgment by getting put away. She's going to lose her spot so that Esther can come in. That's all the Most High. Most High making the moves. So he'll make moves by using judgment on the wicked. Right? So read it.
Psalm 9:15.
Yeah.
The heathens are sunk down in the pit that they made.
They make, so you're making yourself a pit when you're going against the ways of the Most High. When you're going against, you're a woman going against your husband. You're not being submissive. You're not allowing him to rule over you. Your desire isn't to his needs or wants. You're digging yourself a pit. Go ahead. Keep going.
In the net which they hid in their own foot
It's their
taken.
own foot taken. So all the wickedness she's doing is going to cause her own foot to be taken. Right? She's putting herself on some level, right? But it's about to cause her to get taken out the way, and another woman replace her on that level.
Come.
Keep going.
Verse 20.
16. Hold up.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Yahya.
16. Still 16.
The Most High is known by the judgment which he executed. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands.
So the Most High is known in the judgment which he executed. He's making these moves. He's bringing judgment on Vashti. He's bringing Esther. Right? But it's not the wicked are getting that judgment. But the Most High is still making the move. Keep going.
Higgins, Salih, Salam, that's how y'all say it?
Salah.
Salah. Okay.
Go ahead, 17.
Musical note.
The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all of the nations that forget Yahweh.
Yeah, and read verse 18.
For the needy shall not always be forgotten.
So this whole story is the needy not being forgotten. Because the needy is Israel. And at this time, Israel is in oppression and captivity. And this whole story, this whole play out is going to be for the Most High bringing Esther and to put the Jews on top of it. Obviously not all the way back, but he gives us a little bit of grace and gives it, brings us back to a certain level, by returning, a small remnant back to Jerusalem and all that. It's all happening by just using the wicked's own wickedness and judgment on them. That's how things are playing out. But it's all the Most High making the plays. Go ahead.
The expectation of the poor shall not perish forever.
See that? So that's what this whole story is about. It's about, it's a little piece of history with a little piece of redemption for Israel. And it's all starting off with this feasting and Vashti disobeying her husband and getting taken out of the way.
Dishonor her head.
Judgment is coming on Vashti. That's opening the door for Esther to come in.
Okay.
And then it's going to play out more. It's going to play out more for a little piece of redemption for Israel. That's what the story of Esther is about. So that's why I brought that verse out. We can go back to the reading, but that's why I brought that out, just to show that the Most High will execute judgment and then make moves by his execution of judgment. The wicked being snared in their own trap. Vashti, on wickedness, getting her put out the way, opening the door to move Esther.
Not to prolong
Yeah.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm curious at the time variable. Where are we in the ABC in that area?
Oh, 465 to 424, remember?
Okay, then I heard you mention the Jews instead of the Hebrews.
Well, Jews and Hebrew Israelites and
they're not the same.
Check this out. Jews are Israelites, but Israelites are not Jews. Jews are the tribe of Judah or the kingdom of Judah.
Okay, gotcha.
One or the other.
Gotcha.
Mostly the
People
tribe
have
of Judah because it's short for
changed
Judah.
them during the,
Yeah, that's the world. We got to go by what the scriptures say.
and it says,
Nowhere does the scriptures say that all Israelites are Jews. Matter of fact, before we start seeing just Jews in the text, the nation of Israel, Northern Kingdom, is put away by the Most High.
okay.
That's why in the New Testament you don't see Israelites all through the text. Because even with the return to Jerusalem, Jews return. And maybe there's probably like Northern Kingdom like in the midst, but Northern Kingdom was put away and not brought back yet. Matter of fact, most of Northern Kingdom came over here to the Americas.
Right.
There was still some that was in the land.
Right.
Like you got your like Tovis and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was a very few number though. It wasn't. They
It was
still
a
wasn't,
remnant.
and they wasn't considered a nation again. Even though some stayed, they came into the Jews' kingdom if they were part of Israel again.
Gotcha.
Like the Most High cut off the nation of Israel. He gave them the bill of divorcement.
Northern Kingdom.
Northern Kingdom.
No, they
So
said-
that when we say that, that's speaking in the split.
right.
But as a nation, as the children of Jacob, the children of Israel, that includes the Jews. Except for the Jews don't include Israel, because Jews is
Right.
the Judah.
You call it Judah, Israel.
Jews is short for Judah.
Right.
See, so
Okay.
that
Can I make a point?
yeah.
Mario,
Yeah.
Basically, once we went into the Babylonian captivity,
Mm-hmm.
that's when they were basically saying the Jews, denoting the whole nation as the Jews.
Right.
Even though, of course, we know that it's not. Right? The whole nation is not the Jews, but we know specifically the Jews is Judah, Yahweh, okay, from the tribe of Judah. But when we went into the Babylonian captivity, the other nations started saying the Jews,
Right.
all right, and putting us or labeling us as the Jews, as labeling us the whole nation as the Jews, even though we weren't.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
But didn't Salakia, wasn't it the Babylonians that took the southern kingdom, right?
Yeah,
They took the southern kingdom.
Yeah, so
The
Israel was
Syrians took
already
the
gone.
northern kingdom.
Right.
And then the fall of Judah,
Right.
the southern kingdom, which is Judah, Benjamin, Levi,
Right.
that was Babylonian,
Right.
us, right?
right.
And we would
So
say
isn't that why they
once,
said Jews?
once the 10 and a half tribes left, all right, and came, of course, 1.5 years around Africa and to the Americas. This is 722.
Right.
So we're talking about when the Babylonian captivity happened. That's when they started labeling us as the Jews,
Right.
Right.
but denoting and saying that that's the whole nation, the Jews,
Right.
even though we weren't,
Yeah.
because 10 and a half tribes.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Because
So.
the 10 tribes were on their way to Philly.
Yeah.
But even
I just want to
but
make sure I
what
understood that.
what you said, Yaakov, so when Israel, like certain northern kingdom would return, they weren't returning to their own government.
Right.
They were returning to the government of Judah. Israel was done. So even though they're of that lineage, the government they was returning to was Judah, because that was the only one left at the time.
Right.
And then even with the return after slavery, it was the government of Judah that returned. Not Jerusalem was rebuilt. Samaria wasn't rebuilt.
Exactly.
Right, because it was
Yeah.
Judah, Benjamin, and Levi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
then whatever.
So if you were Levite, they would still say the Jews.
Yeah.
If you were Benjamin, they would say the Jews.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that goes back to the umbrella of the kingdom, which
Right.
was called Judah, the southern kingdom.
Right.
Right.
Time. But it's still different,
clearly, that's all.
and it's important to know that so the nation of Israel, though the northern kingdom is still in effect. They just still advance. That's what Ezekiel, the valley of dry bones, the 2 sticks. You read about the 2 sticks. That's when the nations come back together.
Right.
When the 2 sticks in Ezekiel.
Right.
If you haven't read it, it's Ezekiel 37.
Yeah.
It's the valley of dry bones.
Right.
Right, and then he tells Ezekiel make 2 sticks, right on one Joseph, and that's Joseph and his companions. That's Ephraim, that's the northern kingdom, Joseph. He represents Israel, nation of Israel, northern kingdom. And right on other stick, Judah. And that's when we come back together. So that's why, but yeah, that's why after the Old Testament, you always see Jews. Old Testament, the northern kingdom was, they gone.
I think it was Jeremiah when he
As a
started
nation.
actually saying Jews.
Yeah, he says it in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a prophet of the southern kingdom,
Yeah.
to be specific. And yeah, even in Jeremiah's time though, northern kingdom, they are banished. Remember, he said it, Assyria took them away.
Assyria, right.
Yeah, so,
And then the lower kingdom was overthrown by who?
right.
Babylon.
The Babylonians. Right.
But then sometimes Jeremiah will be talking to the northern kingdom though, because basically giving them the warnings from God, basically to return.
Right.
Return to God by so forth and so on. So yeah, so you good on that? You got the understanding? I think you got it.
I was just going to say one last thing. I don't want to keep hammering this in, but also that's prophecy that Judah would be the lead tribe,
Yeah.
the head tribe, and it always said Judah would go out first.
Right.
So that's all prophecy that Jews and Judah is like the prominent name that everybody recognizes when it comes to Israel, because Judah, that's the tribe that Christ come out of, and that would be the kingdom tribe, the lead tribe of the whole nation of Israel.
Yeah, what
So
you
that's
say,
prophecy anyway.
Scepter shall
It
not
says,
depart.
but it says Judah got, somewhere it says Judah got the victory, or
It's a couple
paraphrasing.
spots.
But I'm
It
paraphrasing
said
one of
Judah
them.
will go out first and praise,
Yeah.
and then everybody will follow.
Well, Genesis 49.
Yeah, 49.
Yeah, that's where it says Judah got the
Yeah.
victory, right?
You
Yeah.
talking about
Judah's brethren shall praise,
Right.
praise him.
Right.
Yeah,
Judah was always going to be the head tribe.
Yeah, because the Most High.
Yahweh.
Right.
Right.
So Judah was always going to be a head tribe. Remember, it says Yahushua after the order of Melchizedek. And remember, Judah, the priesthood wasn't even about Judah. The priesthood came out of Levi.
Yeah.
But Yahushua still prevailed over Levi as far as the priesthood.
Yeah.
Because he's Hamashiach Yahushua. Understand? But it says he's a Jew, all right, Yahweh, out of the nation of Israel. That's Yahushua. That's his tribe.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So just like you spoke about Jeremiah was a Levite.
Right.
But a prophet concerning the southern kingdom. Understand?
Yes.
But he was a Levite during that time.
Yes.
Okay? So still, they considered us all Jews, right? From the Babylonian Empire forward, they considered us all Jews. Even though you had some of the 12 tribes still mingled amongst Judah, they were still considered Jews.
God.
I
We got one right
I
here.
got two questions. Now the word Jew. Now, from my understanding, I'm understanding correct. It was written in the Old Testament. I thought that was inserted because it was trying to take the place of the name Israel or Israelite.
I don't
Just trying to watch this.
really. I don't want to go too far down that rabbit hole.
I know that's the question I'm asking. That's all.
I mean,
Deep hole.
with that, you can just get on the BLB and if anywhere you see Jews, all you gotta do is click and you can see what's in the Hebrew.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm saying only time I used to see this only in the New Testament, but
Yeah.
in
Well,
the
there's
Old
some
Testament, I'm saying
spots in the Old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
huh?
It's been in some spots.
Okay,
It's not sprinkled all
Right,
over
it's not.
like that.
okay. All right, now my
Hey,
second.
Gamarian,
Yeah.
I just want to read this Hebrews 7:14. I'm going to read it. Hebrews
What is
7:14.
it? What is it?
Hebrews 7:14.
7:14.
For edification, that's all. For it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah, talking about Yahushua, of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning the priesthood.
Right.
Okay? And it is yet far more evident for that after the similitude of Melchizedek, there arises another priest. So Yahushua coming out of Judah still was able to take over the priesthood, even though the priesthood is Levi.
Right.
Because why? He's Hamashiach. He's the anointed Savior and the Redeemer of Israel.
Right.
Understand? So, but again, he's Judah. And the other part of Scripture say Judah prevailed above his brethren. Understand?
Yeah.
So, even though the birthright was Reuben, Judah prevailed above his brethren. Okay, so again, that's why, like you were saying, the term Jew throughout history is really denoted on all the whole nation.
It's the coverage for
It's
the
coverage
nation.
the whole
Yeah.
nation. Yeah.
Right. Got you.
My second question is when the 10.5 tribes came over here, there was also part of the southern kingdom came with them too, a remnant of them, right? Or not?
Yeah.
You know, something I would say,
The 10 tribes.
yeah, I would,
10.5
I would say come.
Yeah, because I mean,
Now, if you put it that way,
yeah, because
because not all the everybody, you know, the whole nation
Yeah.
or the whole northern kingdom came with
Slave.
in the Assyrian captivity.
Come.
Yeah, not the whole 10 tribes came. Some of them stayed over there
Yeah.
and became part of the southern kingdom.
But I'm saying a part of the other tribes also came along with them. You know, like the
A
Levites.
remnant. A remnant. A remnant.
Yeah.
So what, the Americas?
Yes.
Come.
Most likely, I mean, it doesn't tell us, but I mean,
Yeah, it
it
doesn't
wouldn't
really
be
tell us.
unreasonable to assume that. The
To assume.
same way some of the small remnants of the Northern Kingdom, you know, kept dealing with the Southern Kingdom.
And also when they kept going back and forth trading with one another in Solomon's time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you got to look at that.
I mean, think about it. Most of the time when it talks about the stranger, when you see the stranger, even in the law, where they're allowed to do something that the other stranger ain't allowed to do, is talking about Israel.
Okay.
So all a stranger a lot of times is, yeah, you are part of one tribe, but you dwell amongst another tribe.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a regular thing.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. Not everybody wants to remain in the same city or state all their life, right?
Right. I just put
So-
that out there so
Yeah,
people,
so
you know,
I'm saying it's not unreasonable to assume it because, like, some people, they don't want to live here, but they got, with Israel, you have an inheritance that don't change. So you might want to live over, you might be Ephraimite, you might want to live off in Gad's land. You still got your inheritance over here though, but you're part of their country or whatever, because you like it there.
Yeah.
Like you might be from Delaware, but you love Florida, so you're gonna spend the rest of your days in Florida.
There you go.
But people still say, "Oh, well, you're a Delawarean. You're from Delaware."
I just want to put it in context that when you're traveling back and forth trading, some of us come over here to live, some of us go back over there to live. It wasn't one thing that happened one time.
Right.
Yeah, that's the straight context. It's full context.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as you know, we the Bible mostly talks in both, though, and that's what we're referring to when we speak about it in both. Yeah.
And Joseph's
And this is at this time though, this story is dealing with
We'll go into another time.
Yeah. Let's get back to it though, because
The book of Esther, chapter
I really
1,
want to go through the whole thing about Purim.
verse 20. And when the king's decree which he shall make shall be published throughout all the empire, for it is great, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small. And the saying pleased the king and the princes, and the king did according to the word of Memucan. For he sent letters into all the king's provinces, into every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and that it should be published according to the language of every people.
Go ahead.
And I just want to touch on that. That's just Ahasuerus putting the man back on top as the head, and in rulership of his own household, whereas though the woman being unruly, she had turned things upside down, and the other women seen that as an example. So he put out the decree so that this would go back in order. Chapter 2, verse 1. After these things, when the wrath of King Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti, and what she had done, and what was decreed against her. Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, let there be fair young virgins sought for the king, and let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan, the palace, to the house of the women, unto the custody of Hegay, the king's chamberlain, keeper of the women, and let their things for purification be given them. And let the maiden which pleaseth the king be queen instead of Vashti. And the thing pleased the king, and he did so. Now in Shushan, the palace, where was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai.
Real quick, on that point. Even with heathen kings, when they would take a woman from a different nation, they would take women from different nations, they would set them aside for a certain time, basically to be cleansed and learn their ways and become basically like them and leave off the ways of their people. So it was even with them, that's where we get the law, we're supposed to do that.
Graft them in.
No, when you take a woman that's of a different nation, like you see her amongst the captives, you bring her home and you set her apart for, you can get it if you want. You set, because I think I'm butchering it, you set her apart for a certain amount of days. She's going to get the exact
Shave
number.
her head. Yeah.
You shave her head, you pare her nails. And she has to mourn her parents because really she's leaving off that mind state as well. She's forgetting her people. She's forgetting those beliefs. She's leaving off of those gods. She has to become, she doesn't become a Jew or an Israelite, but she has to become one mentally in what she believes and follows. She's still going to be called whatever nation she was. That's why Ruth is always called a Moabite. That's why she's always called a Moabite. But all nations did this back then. You see this nation, he got all them virgins from the land. And they put them aside and they'd have to wash and be there for a certain amount of time. It ain't just about getting clean physically. You have to you have to become like the people here. You have to believe what we believe.
Yeah.
You can't bring your stuff to my kingdom. Like if you ever, you got Netflix, I don't know if you ever watched Marco Polo. I like that show. And I like it because it gives you a visual of like some ancient times dealing with king and kingdom, and a lot of things that is done in that kingdom. I like it because I kind of like remember certain things that you read and hear, but because it's more the same time frame. It's before, you know, the world of cars and governments and democracies and, you know, so it's a good visual. So in that show though, it's about Genghis Khan. He's got like a, you know, a spot like we're reading in here where he's got the women come in and they gotta be with the eunuchs and they gotta get cleaned and they gotta go through all this stuff before he picks them out, the ones he wants to keep and the ones he wants to get rid of. You got it?
Yeah.
Go ahead. It's in Deuteronomy.
Yeah.
So he's about to read it real quick. Same thing. So if you see a captive amongst, if you see a woman amongst the captives, there's a law in taking her to be your wife.
Deuteronomy what?
Deuteronomy chapter 21, we're going to start at verse 10, and we're going to read down to 13. And it says, when thou goest forth to war against thine enemies, and Yahweh thy power hath delivered them into thine hands, and thou hast taken them captives, and seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and has a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife. Then thou shalt bring her home to thine house, and shall shave her head and pare her nails, and she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in thine house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month. And after that thou shalt go in unto her, and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife. And it shall be, if thou have no delight in her, then
stop there. That's just on getting rid of her.
Yeah.
So you have to. She has to come and go through this process. And also, it also says in another spot to take the women. First off, when taking captives, the captive women that you're choosing out of, they ain't been with man before.
yeah, they virgins.
Because they're gonna have certain beliefs. Their mind ain't gonna be able to be molded like that. They're gonna have a certain level of pride once they've been, you know. So they have to be virgins. They ain't laid with man before,
Right.
because they have to. The way Ruth said, "I'm not dealing with none of my peoples no more. Your God's my God." Yeah, they gotta come into those ways, or else the same way the law says not to take the Canaanites when you come into the land, not to take their women, because what'll happen? Because they'll get you to start serving their gods.
Become tainted.
Exactly. You have to cut all that out.
Yeah.
So even other nations would do it. That's what we're reading here. They wasn't bringing. I got you. They wasn't doing this to obviously to have the women captives worship the Most High, but they do this so that you leave off your old ways from the nation you came from, and now you take on our ways, because if you don't, you're going to cause the men to lay with you, because a lot of men are simple. They're going to be like, oh, you doing this? Oh, you into Islam? Oh, you like Buddha statues? And oh, what's them beads that you always carrying around? Oh, you think I could get a pair of beads? Simple-minded men going, she's pretty, so they just, that's how the world is. So you got to take them, set them apart. They got to get rid of all that. And they got to, even the outward washings, and get away with the mental washings. So that's all.
And just to land me back off of what he's saying, like they're going to war at this time, and then we're taking these women who are virgins. It's symbolic of us being empowered. So being as though we're not empowered, we're not supposed to be taking any heathen women, because if you take a so-called white woman, she's going to be teaching your kids Christmas and Halloween and all type of foolishness when we're trying to refine our culture right now as Hebrew Israelites, and she's not going to do it. She's going to look at it, hey man, you teaching hate. Yeah. Really, we trying to refine our culture and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
because
bring us back to where we're supposed to be.
Because how many people is finding a virgin is not mentally already on everything just went down? Because if you found that, you wouldn't be able to say that nobody would be able to accuse you. But where are you finding that at?
Yeah.
Right. Where are you finding that at? Because the law tells us that there's 7 nations that we can't deal with no matter what.
Right.
But then with the other ones, you can't have a woman that's keeping her ways of her nation if she's on another nation.
Right.
And how you gonna find? Good luck finding a a heathen that ain't laid with man and not be a pedophile.
Salaki, even with them 7 nations, that's symbolic of nations that are mightier than us. So we not in power either.
Right.
So it's still the same thing as today. You bring it up to today. We not in power. You know what I mean?
Because also you got to remember there was a difference. It's to be distinguished. You had women who we took as concubines, and you had your wife of your nation. So when we went out to war, and the Most High allowed the spoils of war for us to get that nation's woman, of course, it had to be a virgin, and you had to follow what the Most High, the steps to cleanse her, and she had to be a virgin. So it was going to be difficult if she wasn't a virgin, right? It would be difficult. But still, even then, because she's of another nation, remember, they're worshiping idol gods, their gods. So you got to put her away for a while, so she could mourn or whatever. Understand? And then now, once you bring her into the understanding of Israel and your nation, right? Then you can fully take on as your concubine. But again, that was a concubine, a woman of another nation. That wasn't your wife of your nation. Son. So there's a difference. And also, again, like Yakan was saying, Israel, we can do that when we're in power. When you're not in power, how are you going to do that? You can't do it because the vibration that's out there now is the vibration of the world.
That's right.
Okay, and then now you're going to try to get a woman of another nation, and she's going to bring that vibration into your household of the world. You're going to have a hard time trying to change her over, man. You're going to have a hard time. So you're only going to bring demonic forces into your household by doing that, man.
Yeah, picture trying to tell the woman you can't have no dealings with your pops no more, your dad, your mom, your brothers, sisters. Try telling any woman that in this time. They're gonna say, you're crazy, you out your mind. All right.
Yeah.
There's plenty more fish in the sea. You can go on your way.
See it.
Yeah, so it really, like you said, it couldn't be done today.
No.
But I yield on that. What about you?
No, I'm finished with that too.
Good? All right.
This is the book of Esther, chapter 2, verse 5. Now in Shushan the palace there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite, who had been carried away from Jerusalem.
See, he's a Benjamite, but he's a Jew.
He's also a Jew.
Because Benjamin and Levi fell to the kingdom of Judah. Go ahead.
Who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captivity, which had been carried away with Jeconiah, king of Judah, from Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother. And the maid was fair and beautiful, who Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his own daughter. So it came to pass, when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan the palace to the custody of Haggai, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house to the custody of Haggai, keeper of the women. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him. And he speedily gave her things for purification, with such things as belonged to her, and 7 maidens which were meet to be given her out of the king's house. And he preferred her and her maids unto the best place of the house of the women. Esther had not showed her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not show it. And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the women's house to know how Esther did and what should become of her. Now, when every maid's turn was come to go in the king Ahasuerus, after that, she had been 12 months according to the manner of the women. For so were the days of their purifications accomplished, to wit 6 months with oil of myrrh, and 6 months with sweet odors, and with other things for the purification of the women. Then thus came every maiden unto the king. Whatsoever she desired was given her to go with her out of the house of women unto the king's house. In the evening she went And on the morrow she returned into the second house of the women to the custody of Shagaz, the king's chamberlain, which kept the concubines. She came in unto the king no more, except the king delighted in her, and that she were called by name. Now, when the turn of Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her for his daughter, was come to go in unto the king, she required nothing but what Haggai, the king's chamberlain, the keeper of the women, appointed, and Esther obtained favor in the sight of all them that looked upon her. So Esther was taken unto King Ahasuerus into his house royal in the 10th month, which is the month Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign. And the king loved Esther above all the women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight more than all the virgins, so that he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. Then the king made a great feast unto all the princes and his servants, even Esther's feast. And he made a release to the provinces and gave gifts according to the state of the king. And when the virgins were gathered together the second time, then Mordecai sat in the king's gate. Esther had not yet showed her kindred nor her people, as Mordecai had charged her. For Esther did the commandment of Mordecai, like as when she was brought up with him. In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, two of the king's chamberlains, Bigthan and Teresh, of those which kept the door, were wroth, and sought to lay hand on King Ahasuerus. And the thing was known to Mordecai, who told it unto Esther, the queen. And Esther certified the king thereof in Mordecai's name. And when inquisition was made of the matter, it was found out, therefore they were both hanged on a tree. And it was written in the book of the Chronicles before the king. After these, chapter 3, after these things did Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, and advance him and set his seat above all princes that were with him.
Haman, so those that don't know, he's an Agagite. Everybody know Edomite.
Yeah, Agagite is from the clan of the Amalek. So he's an Amalekite. He's like the chief, like the modern day Jews.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And also,
Jewish.
Yeah.
Jewish.
also, what else does he have in common with Edomites today?
Yep.
Something we went over on the dedication reading. Anybody remember? So the Edomites today are descendants of Greeks, right?
Yeah.
Who were the Greeks?
Romans.
But Macedonians.
Huh?
Macedonians,
Okay.
right? So, and Haman is also a what?
He's an Amalekite. He's from Agagite, ain't he?
He's a
He's an Edomite.
Yeah, he's a Macedonian. That's all I'm getting at. He's a Macedonian. So we know the Greeks are Macedonians. It's just another one where we know that the people today are Edomites.
Well, you got to look in.
It's in here in the rest of Esther.
You got to look in the, when you go into I think it was Genesis 36. It gives you the lineage of Edom.
Yeah.
And when you read it, you'll read on down. You read about the Amalekites.
Right.
Right.
And the Most High hates
Right.
said have war on Amalek forever.
Yeah, right. So
And
you read that in Numbers too about Amalek.
real quick.
Esau got different families too.
Come.
Just like
16.
Judah has 12 tribes, Esau got his different tribes also.
I got it. So the additions in Esther chapter 16 verse 10, it says, "For Aman, a Macedonian, the son of Amadatha, being indeed a stranger from the Persian blood." So just to show, So he's a Macedonian, the same as who? Alexander the Not Great. So we're dealing with Edomite of the Amalekites, who is hated by, and the Most High promised war on forever. And he's also Alexander the Greek, a descendant of these same Edomites.
Come.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 5 and 32, and it reads, Then said Samuel, Bring ye hither to me Agag, the king of the Amalekites. And Agag came unto him delicately, and Agag said, Surely the bitterness of death is past. And this is just to show that Haman was an Amalekite, who was the modern day Jews, and Agag, he's a descendant of Agag, and he's an Agagite. You know what I mean? And they have perpetual hatred towards us, as they do today. And during the time of Samuel, King Saul was commanded to kill all of the males, but he didn't do it. He didn't do it. You know what I mean?
Lost his kingdom because of it.
Yeah. Go ahead. You done with that?
Yeah.
Is that where? Is that the promise of war? That's in the Torah, huh?
No, that's an Tanakh.
Okay. Don't worry about it. We can keep reading.
Okay.
I don't think we need to get it.
After chapter 3, verse 1. After these things, the king Ahasuerus promoted Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did it him reference. Then the king's servants, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, Why transgressest thou the king's commandment? Now it came to pass, when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman, to see whether Mordecai's matter would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath.
So Amos 3 real quick. So Haman, he got real pissed when he found out more. He was already pissed, right? That the man won't bow to him. Then he found out he's a Jew.
Yep.
So what?
Pour gasoline on
That
it.
poured gasoline on it because Esau has a what? Amos 3? No, 1 and 11.
Yes, sir.
1 and 11. Amos 1 and 11. Because Esau has a perpetual hatred. So once he found out that Mordecai was a Jew, like you said, that poured gallons and gallons of fuel on that fire.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'll read it. For thus saith Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. So that, him find that out, and then also if you read in the Josephus, it talks about how he was also mad because Jacob had destroyed most of Esau. And that's true. If you read back through the actions and the all the things that they did during the kings, they was destroying Esau. So he's also looking like, oh, these people, they destroyed my people. And I already got perpetual hatred. They took the blessing, even though I sold it, but Esau, he feels like it was taken. Right? So all these things, he's pissed. He's like, oh, this man won't bow to me. I'm not having it.
Come.
Right?
Verse 5. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reference, then was Haman full of wrath. And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had showed him the people of Mordecai. Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai. In the first month, that is the month Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast pure, that is the lot before Haman, from day to day, and from month to month, to the 12th month, that is the month Adar. And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there's a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all people. Neither keep they the king's laws, therefore it is not for the king's profit to suffer them. If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business to bring it into the king's treasuries. And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the enemy of the Jews. And the king said unto Haman, the silver is given to thee, the people also to do with them as it seemeth good to thee.
So also he had to convince him to give up tribute, to give up taxes. In Haman, he promised he's going to pay those taxes back. So this is how wicked Esau is. He's willing to take over a debt of a whole nation of people. Why? Because what he's going to do is, once he's got rid of that people, he has to come up with that money. He's just going to take his sword and go slaughter and take the money from other lands the way he does today. He's going to go take over the South Africans. He's going to go take his sword and take over the Indians. And he's going to try to take over the Chinese because he has this debt to pay. All just to get rid of his arch adversary. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 12. Then were the king's scribes called on the 13th day of the first month, and there was written according to all that Haman had commanded unto the king's lieutenants, and to the governors that were over every province, and to rulers of every people of every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language. In the name of the king Ahasuerus was it written and sealed with the king's ring. And the letters were sent by post into all the king's provinces to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar, and to take the spoil of them for a prey.
Hold that. So real quick from here, rest of Esther chapter 13, if you got it. We got rest of the editions of Esther. The editions of Esther, we're going to read 1 to 7. Then we want to go back.
13.
Come. So the editions of Esther chapter 13, verse 1. The copy of the letters was this. The great King Artaxerxes writeth these things to the princes and governors that are under him from India unto Ethiopia in 127 provinces. After that, I became Lord over many nations and had dominion over the whole world, not lifted up with presumption of my authority, but carrying myself always with equity and mildness. I propose to settle my subjects continually in a quiet life, and making my kingdom peaceable and open for passage to the utmost coast, to renew peace, which is desired of all men. Now when I asked my counselors how this might be brought to pass, a man that excelled in wisdom among us, and was approved for his constant goodwill and steadfast fidelity, and had the honor of the second place in the kingdom, declared unto us that in all nations throughout the world there was scattered a certain malicious people that had laws contrary to all nations. See that? And this is what the nations think of our laws. Not just them. The Edomites chief. But all nations. They think that we're a malicious people. Why? Because the Most High in the law put us above all people. Nations don't understand that. They're not dealing with that. And he says in laws contrary contrary to all nations. Well, why would that be? For one, the Most High's laws are what? Unchangeable. The Most High's laws don't change.
Immutable.
Yeah. But you go into every nation, what do? They're constantly changing.
Flip-flop.
Yeah, they're flip-flopping.
Yeah.
Depending on what desires that they got.
Yeah.
they want to get high or they don't, or what's working out for the best, for the money or whatever, they always change the laws. They change laws if it means keep putting one people underneath them.
Yeah.
Then if once that's fine and they know that it's not going to affect their government, they'll start changing those laws. Then they'll start giving you a little leeway. They'll start being relaxing on the laws. You know, the nations, all their laws they change because they're not righteous people. But the righteous laws, the laws that we have, they call those contrary, and they against them. So when people say, heathens can be saved, all they got to do is, you know, there's good heathens out there that want to keep the laws. Well, show them. Show them to me. I ain't seen them.
Show me.
I ain't seen them. I'm waiting. Because you hear it all the time. Don't you hear it?
Yeah, but they gonna keep the laws.
They go to, yeah, but be under compulsion.
Yeah.
When somebody going to volunteer, like remember the cities in Maccabees said they came to Judas, all that was voluntarily devoted to the law. Yeah, when you going, I'm waiting to see the voluntarily devoted heathens to the law. I don't think it's going to happen because this is the way they feel about these laws. First off, you can't eat pork, you can't eat shrimp, you can't eat lobster, so when they giving that up? Because a Negro said so.
They ain't never give it up.
Yeah, until they forced to, like, you made a good point. They gonna have to.
Eventually.
They gonna have to, yeah, but what heathens getting saved? Even if they allow. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see their voluntary devotion to the law.
Hey, can I say this?
Yeah.
Has it ever happened?
That's what I'm saying. Has it ever happened? I haven't seen it.
But you can't tell a blind nigga nothing.
Nah, you can't.
You know?
You
They
can't tell
swear
them.
they can be saved.
Yeah, you can't. But that's not a question to them. Okay, well, let's say they can't. Well, when? Show me.
Yeah, that's all right.
Show me. They got. You know what? Fine. But they got to do this. So where they at?
They want to wait for the last minute.
Yeah.
They can never prove it.
Because that blind Negro mind is still thinking that when a Edomite or a Moabite or even a Negro light says, I believe in Christ, and you know what, I believe y'all are Jews, now they believers. That's the problem.
That's
You're not a
happened
believer
there.
until the actions have to follow that.
That's the point.
You have to be a doer.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, yeah, y'all right.
Yeah.
Telling us we right ain't saving you.
No.
We know we right. The word says it's right.
Y'all touching on chapter 8, verse 17, because that's going to be an argument.
What's that?
Either what?
And Esther.
That's what.
Regular Esther?
We gonna read all through
We're
it.
going to get to that.
We're gonna read
We're
through it.
doing the whole reading.
Chapter 9 gonna kill all that.
So let me get back to this though.
Chapter 9, that's gonna kill all that.
Yeah, right. So back to verse 4. So laws contrary to all nations, and continually despise the commandments of kings, so as the uniting of our kingdoms, honorably intended by us, cannot go forward. Seeing then we understand that this people alone is continually in opposition unto all men, deferred in the strange manner of their laws, and evil affected to our state, working all mischief they can, that our kingdom may not be firmly established. And that's true, but why is that? Because that's what the Most High said. The Most High is contrary to all the ways of these nations.
Yeah.
So just by following that, you're exactly what we're reading right here.
Yeah.
And that's the way they think about it. That's why we're on the terrorist watch list as a people, the SPLC. It doesn't say Yohanas. It doesn't say Barak. It says Hebrew Israelites.
Come.
So it don't matter what they think. I ain't gonna say that. You know,
No,
I don't know what they think, but there's Hebrews that think they're safe because of the way they worship, because it's a little bit less, more friendly, right? Nah, you're not any lower on that spectrum of being a suspected terrorist just because you don't go out and do camp, because you're not as loud and and out there with it.
Right.
This is the problem. Esau has a perpetual hatred for the nation. So once you're already hated, calling yourself black
Or Negro.
Negro.
That's right.
So yeah, once you call yourself a Hebrew Israelite, whether you're in the camps, the schools, the Israelite, individualite, or the class next door, or the class down the hall, you're still on that list because you're already hated, and now you know a little something else that we've been trying to keep from you.
Yeah.
We know that by you learning these things, it's all a part of waking up. It's like a slippery slope. It's only going to go faster and faster from here.
Yeah.
So they know that.
Slavic. Pick up the word of God. Period. In this world right now, in this world of darkness, they're gonna label you with something.
You are.
And put you in categories.
Yeah, because the word of God is against. That's what we're reading. The problem is these nations, like Michael Ford says, they don't know the Most High, but they do know that some of what it says, and they know it's against us.
I say that because I see black men, I see white men, I see men of all nations who pick up this book right here.
Yeah.
They've been labeled with something that's dark as hell. That's why I say that.
Yeah. And then you get into that's picking it up. Then you get into the following it, actually doing it. That's a whole nother level.
Yeah.
But if I say this, but you got to realize, see, again, it's to be distinguished. If you pick up and you say you're in the Word of God, and you pick up the Bible, but a lot of Christians do that. There are a lot of Baptists do that. Jehovah's Witnesses do that. So again, what God are they serving? So just because they pick up the Bible and start reading scriptures don't mean they're serving the Most High.
I would say they're being persecuted.
Okay? It doesn't matter. But then the God of that world, their idol God of that world is having them being persecuted. But when you come into Yahweh Bahasham Hamashiach Yahushua, there's a difference now. Okay? There's a difference. That's why, like Mari was saying about some of these other Israelite groups. You got Old Testament Israelite groups, right? They're not even in Yahushua.
That's right.
So who are they really serving? Think about it. And then you got some of these, like you said, some of these Israelite groups that are basically sold out. So what God are they serving? See? But they know they're Israel. But what power are they serving? The difference. So really, that's why Yahweh said, I come, the world should hate you, the world cannot hate you, but me it hateth. And why did Yahweh say? Because he said, I testify of it because the works thereon are evil. So that's why they hate you. So you gotta come into Yahweh and testify that this whole world is evil and the works thereof are evil. Show it out the scriptures. Then you will have a difference in, how much they hate you and so forth.
Yeah, because anybody can pick it up, but
yeah,
you to do it. The word says that to abhor the things that the nations is doing. A lot of people, they can pick it up. They don't abhor what they see.
Yeah.
They're like, they doing them, I'm doing me. They don't actually abhor it.
They don't actually abhor it.
It's like I can hang out every once in a while, That's their thing. I don't really believe it, but I really like hanging out with them guys.
Yeah, you got Israelites trimming their ways, seeking love for the nation, celebrating holidays, eating pork.
Right.
I mean, bacon.
So what God are they serving in Israel?
Yeah.
What God are they serving?
Savor hostage.
They're not the Most High.
And then even with all that,
Right.
and with that, they're still being labeled a terrorist.
Right.
You're still going to be labeled a terrorist. See, we're talking about what we're getting into is, basically your battle to be faithful, right? But regardless, you're going to be labeled a terrorist because they know what the outcome is. So even if you're not doing it, once you pick it, like he made a good point about anybody that picks it up, yeah. But then to get on that level of being a terrorist, once you associate yourself with who you are being an Israelite, you're on that list. Because it says Hebrew Israelites. But Hebrew Israelites ain't did no terrorism.
But Gamora, but also
So,
on that list also, you mentioned the Southern poverty.
They switched it. They switched it.
Yeah, but no, I'm just saying, on the Southern poverty list, they have Israelites as terrorists, right? They even have the Marshal Rashal as terrorists on that list. But again, and they distinguish. They'll say, we know about IUIC. They have IUIC on there. I think they got ISUPK on there, right? But as far as individuals, I don't know. As far as individual names, but individual camps they do have. Okay, but what I'm saying is they also have Farrakhan on that list. They got the Nation of Islam on that list. they got some certain militia groups on that list. Okay? So again, you make the point, you could be out there in the world and still they could put you on the list because you have a certain ideology that's against Esau's politics. So they put you on that list. You know what I'm saying?
Did they take the KKK off? They're not on that list, are they?
I think it's still
Yeah, so
The argument is they wasn't on there.
Oh,
So on the Southern Poverty Law Center list,
yeah.
they starting to realize some stuff.
Yeah.
Because if you go back now, they changed it.
Did they?
Yeah, they changed it. So they say that Hebrew Israelites, it's an editor's note. We no longer call them supremacists.
Okay.
Because we realize they're not the same as, let's say, white nationalists and white supremacists. I'm like, yo, that's crazy.
They switched it up.
They switched it up. And they switched it for Farrakhan too.
Really?
They
switched up their views on Farrakhan, basically saying like, even though these people are like radical to black empowerment, they're not supremacists. They're not trying to, like, I guess, harm anybody, say the KKK has done.
Right.
They're trying to cause a separation. They're trying to show a differentiation.
Well, they have to.
Yeah, because they start to realize, yo, man, these people might be the people.
Yeah,
you feel what I'm saying?
not
Like,
just
we
that.
might be lying on them, so we need to fix this.
Not just that, they know people aren't stupid. So
Yeah, you lying straight up.
yeah, like
people can see that themselves.
the
that ain't
receipts
true.
aren't going to match
They
up.
don't.
So they have to fix it.
Yup.
But the point I was making is
go on there
even
now,
getting
switch,
on the
change
list
that
like
joint.
that.
Yeah.
But even to get on a list like that,
Right.
why is it that it even happening? Like, why is the news taking the old thing that happened and the people went in and shot the small hat, right? And they, just because they might have had one little thing on there that said Israelite. And
They touched on that.
Right. But the fact that happened, the first thing that the media does is they said, oh, Hebrew Israelites went and shot the small hats.
Yeah.
Why do that? Of course, they have to go eventually. You have to go and clean up the mistake, or people ain't gonna take you serious no more. But the fact, why do these things get put out there right away? Why do you get these labels? And the reason you get these labels, we're reading about, because you're already hated, but this makes you even more hated.
Cause they already put the label out there, and then their apology ain't even as big as they cry was. You know what I mean? They already slandered you.
It's all the front.
You already know that's how it's going to
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
So it don't matter either.
Yeah, you going to cry, scream, the fault loud, but, if you was wrong, you going to quietly say that.
Yeah. But this is the mind state. This is Esau, what he knows. Esau knows that we got the blessing. Esau knows that the laws were for us. So he knows they're contrary, and he knows they're contrary to all nations. So this is going to make you extra hated, because this is your redemption. This is their time running short. So this is the mind state. And even back then, this is the bug that Aman put in Artaxerxes' ear.
Ain't the main purpose is to make sure that we don't wake up in large numbers?
Yeah,
That's
but
the main focus, right?
because they know that.
Yeah.
That's what we're
That's
reading.
why they keep lying. They keep lying to come up with these things, these tactics and stuff.
Right.
But Amalek has put all of his brothers in order. So he has a social stratification that he put in order. And anything that threatens that kingdom, he knows that he is the prince of all the kingdoms right now. So he don't want that Irish boy, or that Polish boy, or any other person to take and jeopardize this construct that he has put in place that has him as prince. Rather it be the kingdom to come and the kingdoms that are here.
Right. What did the devil tell Christ?
Uh-oh.
He said, make it, turn this into bread or food or whatever, paraphrasing. And
That's what he
Christ
said.
told him what?
We can't live by bread alone.
Can't live by bread alone.
Yeah.
Okay, but Esau knows
Every word
that.
is conceived.
So he's going to what? He's going to keep his people in line. He's going to try to keep us thinking that we need to live off of
Yeah.
bread.
Because he has to balance chaos.
Yes, exactly. So
Trying
read
to
on.
make order out of
Yes,
chaos.
exactly.
Yeah.
He has.
Yeah, definitely. So reading on, seeing then, we understand that this people alone is continually in opposition under all men, deferring in the strange manner of their laws, and evil affected to our state, working all the mischief they can, that our kingdom may not be firmly established. Therefore have we commanded that all they that are signified in writing unto you by Aman, who is ordained over the affairs, and is next unto us, shall all, with their wives and children, be utterly destroyed by the sword of their enemies, without all mercy and pity, the 14th day of the 12th month Adar of this present year, that they who of old and now also are malicious may in one day with violence go into the grave, and so ever hereafter cause our affairs to be well settled and without trouble. Back to, and that was the end of the letter. That was the letter that Artaxerxes sent to the kingdoms. Now back to
The book of Esther,
chapter 3,
verse
verse 14, it picks up.
Verse 14. The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, that they should be ready against that day. The post went out, being hastened by the king's commandment, and the decree was given in Shushan, the palace. And the king and Haman sat down to drink, but the city Shushan was perplexed. Chapter 4, verse 1. When Mordecai perceived all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes and put on sackcloth with ashes, and went out into the midst of the city, and cried with a loud and a bitter cry, and came even before the king's gate, for none might enter into the king's gate clothed with sackcloth. And in every province, whithersoever the king's commandment and his decree came, there was great mourning among the Jews, and fasting and weeping and wailing, and many lay in sackcloth and ashes. So Esther's maids and her chamberlains came and told it her. Then was the queen exceedingly grieved, and she sent raiment to clothe Mordecai, and to take away his sackcloth from him, but he received it not. Then called Esther for Hathach, one of the king's chamberlains, whom he had appointed to attend upon her, and gave him a commandment to Mordecai to know that it was and why it was. So Hathach went forth to Mordecai unto the street of the city, which was before the king's gate. And Mordecai told him of all that had happened unto him, and of the sum of the money that Haman had promised to pay to the king's treasuries for the Jews to destroy them. Also he gave him the copy of the writing of the decree that was given at Shushan to destroy them, to show it unto Esther, and to declare it unto her, and to charge her that she should go in unto the king and make supplication unto him, and to make request before him for her people. And Hathach came and told Esther the words of Mordecai. Again Esther spake unto Hathach, and gave him commandment unto Mordecai. All the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces do know that whosoever, whether man or woman, shall come unto the king into the inner court, who is not called, there is one law of his to put him to death, except such to who the king shall hold out the golden scepter, that he may live, but I have not been called to come unto the king these 30 days. And they told to Mordecai Esther's words. Then Mordecai commanded to answer Esther, think not with thyself that thou shalt escape in the king's house more than all the Jews. For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then shall their enlargement and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place. But thou and thy father's house shall be destroyed. And who knoweth whether thou art come to the kingdom for such a time as this? Then Esther bade them return Mordecai this answer. Go gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, nor a day, nor drink these 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise, and so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law. And if I perish, I perish. So Mordecai went his way and did according to all that Esther had commanded him.
So real quick, so what we saying here is what we was talking about. If Mordecai, he's giving the commands, and Esther, she's doing them. And what did Mordecai say? He said, if you don't do it, like you probably was put here for a purpose. He's letting her know the Most High, he's moving these parts. You was probably put here for a purpose to save the nation. And if you get in your mind that you don't want to do it, we're going to be destroyed, but the Most High, he's still going to find somebody else to do it. So it's going to happen. The clay is in the Most High's hands. He's moving the pieces. So, and then, but what did Esther do? She's not in that type of mind state to be like, nah, I'm going to save myself. She's going to do it. So she's going to go take her maids, and she's going to go pray.
Right, can I make a point?
Yeah, and we're going to go in the rest of Esther before we
Because you see, you got to remember, the Persian Empire, they were over 127 provinces.
Come.
There were Jews scattered throughout all the provinces. It's like you got 50 states.
Right.
Well, we're scattered through all the 50 states, right?
True.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to remember, the Persian Empire was a bigger empire than what you see the United States is.
That's right.
It's way bigger. So just think now, the decree that was put forth was a decree to kill all the Jews.
And the last one.
Think about it. It's like Joe Biden putting out a decree saying we want all the niggas throughout all of America to be put on the gallows to be hung.
Yeah.
That's the same difference. So you can see why Mordecai instructed Esther exactly what to do. She had to fast for 3 days. He said, I'm going to fast for 3 days. I think he said the ones in Shushan are going to fast for 3 days also. So they came together on one accord. So you got to remember, Esther was no Uncle Tom. That's like Esther. That's like a Negro woman being married to Joe Biden.
Lord have mercy.
Think about it now, right? But
So
Esther was no Uncle Tom.
Today, to Obama.
Huh?
We got that to
Obama,
Obama
okay, yeah. I
because
just made it,
he's a Hamite,
Yeah.
but the rib is Jake.
It's Jake, yeah. And so actually you had that, but of course she don't give a damn about her own people, right? So you got to understand the level that was on, that decree that Hammond put forth, the level that was on, man, that was on a high level. He wanted to kill all of our people, fight all 127 provinces out.
Yeah.
That's like they're giving the order today for all our people being put to death in all the 50 states. And they don't give a damn who you are. You could be LeBron, you could be Denzel Washington, they don't give a damn. You could be Oprah, they don't give a damn who you are, right? That's what Mordecai was saying. He said, Esther, you're not going to escape it either. And when it comes down to it happening, you're not even going to escape, even though you're the queen. So just think about that, huh?
Yeah,
You understand? That was on a high level. That's why we got to come together. And that makes a difference.
Yeah.
And they fasted on one accord. Okay? Esther said, Mordecai said, Esther, you're going to fast, and I'm going to fast. Okay? And I'm going to tell the brothers around me in Shushan, they're going to fast too for 3 days, 3 nights. See, that's one accord. Then you have power in the Most High, man.
Yeah.
That's power.
It also shows that Haman is more faithful than Saul was.
Right.
Yeah.
Fine.
Lord, he can talk about it.
And to get more on that mind state that Esther was in, we can read it.
Yeah.
We can read on her mind state in her prayer.
Come on.
We can read that in the editions of Esther, chapter 14.
Verse 4 on down. I'll read it.
You want to read the whole thing? I was
Yeah.
going to pick up at 14, but I think we got time. So
The book of Esther, chapter 14. This is in the editions of Esther and the Apocrypha.
we're going to read it to 19 though, because the main point, like the good stuff, is in the teens. You can read the whole thing.
Yeah, we're gonna start at chapter 14, and we can just start from the beginning, so we can get the context of what's going on.
So this is the prayer that she's praying where we just left off.
Okay.
Mordecai, busts everything down to her, and she said, "Okay, we're gonna go fast," and she went to go pray. This is what we're reading in the Apocrypha. Go ahead.
This is the book of Esther, chapter 14, verse 1. Queen Esther also being in fear of death resorted unto Yahweh, and laid away her glorious apparel, and put on the garments of anguish and mourning. And instead of precious ointments, she covered her head with ashes and dung. And she humbled her body greatly, and all the places of her joy she filled with her torn hair. And she prayed unto Yahweh, the power of Israel, saying, O my power, thou only art our king. Help me, desolate women which have no helper but thee. For my danger is in mine hand. For from my youth up I have heard in the tribe of my family that thou, O Lord, tookest Israel from among all people, and our fathers from all their predecessors, for a perpetual inheritance, and thou hast performed whatsoever thou didst promise them. And now we have sinned before thee. Therefore hast thou given us into the hands of our enemies, because we worship their gods. O Yahweh, thou art righteous. Nevertheless, it satisfieth them not that we are in bitter captivity, but they have stricken hands with their idols, that they will abolish the thing that thou with thy mouth hast ordained, and destroy thine inheritance, and stop the mouth of them that praise thee, and quench the glory of thy house and of thine altar, and open the mouth of the heathen to set forth the praise of the idols, and to magnify a fleshly king forever. O Yahweh, give not thy scepter unto them.
You see that though? These people, they don't worship the Most High. These people worship their hands, the work of their hands, and men. That's what they're about, whether they got a Bible or not. That's why in the Catholic Church, the Christian Church, and all their sanctuaries, that's why they got idols that they give more reference to than the actual book that they have. Matter of fact, the heathen make the book an idol. Right. They make the physical book an idol. Yeah. Just having it, I'm religious. Just having it, I'm holy. Right. But don't do nothing inside of it. Right. They don't know the words in it, but they know that the words in it are power, and they're the words of God. So they turn the book into something you can idolize. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 11. O Yahweh, give not thy scepter unto them that be nothing, and let them not laugh at our fall, but turn their device upon themselves, and make him an example that hath begun this against us. Remember, O Yahweh, make thyself known in the time of our affliction, and give me boldness, O King of the nations, and power of all powers. Give me eloquent speech in my mouth before the lion. Turn his heart to hate him that fighteth against us, that there may be an end of him, and of all that are like-minded to him. But deliver us with thine hand, and help me that am desolate, and which have no other help but thee. Thou knowest all things, O Yahweh. Thou knowest that I hate the glory of the unrighteous, and abhor the bed of the uncircumcised, and of all the heathen.
You see that? She hates her husband that's on top. Right?
She hates being queen.
She hates being queen. She hates that position. She's not like Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
She ain't up in the White House, eating up all the media attention.
Look out, man.
You know?
She ain't like Venus and Serena.
She ain't like Venus and Serena. Loving the glory.
She ain't like Eve.
Yeah. She abhors it. She did it because Mordecai told her that it has to be done for our people. The Most High has put you in this spot.
Right.
Right? Go ahead.
Verse 16. Thou knowest my necessity, for I abhor the sign of my high estate, which is upon my head in the days wherein I show myself, and that I abhor it as a menstruous rag.
As a what?
As a menstruous rag.
See, Esther felt like that crown, that position was just like a bloody tampon.
Bloody rag.
Bloody rag. That's nothing, but
It's an abomination.
it's an abomination. Go ahead.
And that I wear it not when I am private by myself, and that thine handmaid
A lot of Eve, they like to keep that stuff on in private. Matter of fact, what do you see our women do? It ain't a crown, but they in the phone, they taking the selfies. They in the mirror all day because they got the lashes done.
Yeah.
They got the lashes done. They got the hair put in. They all up in the phone, all up in the mirror.
taking pictures on the yacht with the old white man. Talking about we doing
Yeah.
baller things.
Ain't no difference. We supposed to abhor that.
Yeah.
But
Hey, can I say, the one in here that she says the word hate, right? We ain't supposed to hate, right? But my thing is, where's the law that says we can't hate?
There ain't no law.
yeah, who said that we can't hate?
Yeah.
Which the law? Actually,
The only law that we can,
There's a law that
yeah,
says
we can't hate our own, but we can hate the others.
says abhor the abomination. It's a commandment to abhor the abomination
You love the good.
and their ways.
Yeah.
It's a commandment to abhor the ways of evil.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying. But everybody can hate us, but we're not supposed to hate nobody.
Right.
I can't figure that. I can't that
Yeah,
doesn't comprehend.
Yeah.
You know.
That sounds like some old coon stuff.
Yeah, she hated to wear the garments and all that. She hated to be up there in front of the king and to do what the king wanted her to do. She hated all that. But in private, she took off those garments and put on Hebrew Israelite garments, and her mentality was for her people. Wasn't for what the king wanted. So she only did it for the redemption of our people to be saved from that old wicked plot of Haman.
And the
So do all women think like that today? Hell no.
No.
David said in Psalm 139:21, "Do not I hate them
Right.
which hate thee."
Not,
So you hate him with a perfect hatred.
Right.
okay.
But the Edomite woman does not despise the wealth that she has gained by oppression, but Esther does.
Right.
Exactly. That's the mind state you're supposed to be in, but we ain't got that today.
Yeah, this is
Because
why
we're destroyed for lack of knowledge. We think that that's a level to attain to.
Yeah.
It's something to strive for. That's why first day you get a college graduate, oh, my baby graduated. Well, that's good, but the mind state they're in is they in the world mind state. It's good, but it ain't all that. Like what's the degree for? Political science? Oh, so your baby graduated so that your baby can keep his people under oppression, because that's all you're going to do 9 times out of 10. He's not going to become a politician and actually help his people, because Esau ain't going to allow that.
He's got his master's degree. That's why his master's name was on top of his name when he get that degree.
Right. Right.
Yep.
Master Spellman.
And he only got a degree of knowledge from him.
Yeah, that means he's gonna operate the way we trained him to operate in society.
He's still the master. I mean, we call him master in slavery, he's still a master.
And the spirit will serve its creator.
Come.
You've mastered the wisdom of the heathen, of the world, correct?
You master being a high-paid slave when it's time to go out.
Exactly.
Come.
Yeah.
Exactly. You ain't got the potato bags on. You got a top hat and a little bit nicer rags. You got your shoes is shining.
Yeah, all through the day.
Your master's you got the hand-me-downs, but they shiny though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's bring it up to date. That's exactly what it is. Go ahead.
Verse 17.
What's it?
And that thine handmaid hath not eaten at Haman's table, and that I have not greatly esteemed the king's feast, nor drunk the wine of the drink offerings. Neither hath thine handmaid any joy since the day that I was brought hither to his presence. But in thee, O Yahweh, thy power of Abraham, O thou mighty power above all, hear the voice of the forlorn and deliver us out of the hand of the mischievous, and deliver me out of my fear.
See that? So that's the mind state that Esther was in. Right? Go ahead back to chapter 5.
And Esther didn't put on a weave. Esther was tearing her hair out.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
The
Exactly.
others to make a wish.
Yeah.
Tear her hair out.
Yeah, it was stressful. It's like that's what you do. Like when you're stressful, you pulling your hair out. It's stressful to be in that position. She didn't want no heathen king. She already knew it was off. You know what I mean? She wasn't gonna give babies by her nation. She had to give babies to this man. You know what I mean?
No bleaching cream. But
She was off her meds.
Now our women ain't pulling their hair out, it's falling out from the thick hair they put in.
But see, that's a
Chemicals they
sacrifice
put in it.
she had to make for the redemption of Israel
Come.
by the Most High. There's always got to be a sacrifice, man. And we're talking about high level spiritual sacrifice.
Yeah.
That's Most High said, become a living sacrifice.
Or event, okay.
And that's what we got to think about. You know, we all got to think about that. What sacrifice can you make for the redeeming of your own people? Okay? Yahweh made a sacrifice, right? So now, what can we do to bring our people in redemption? See? So you got to look at that individually also,
Come.
and also as a nation.
I'm finding out that you have to be. I'm finding out you have to be more and more creative today to bring the truth word
Right.
to the people today because they ain't hearing it.
They're not going to want to hear it, right?
It's like talking to somebody that's standing upside down.
Exactly.
They ain't hearing you.
So you're right. So what creative ability do you have in you to bring the truth to?
I'm working on it.
I mean, but right. But you have that talent is in you,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's in the brothers, it's in you.
Yeah,
And we gotta
well,
bring it
yeah.
out, we gotta bring it out of us.
Yeah, bring it out. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's apropos. That's apropos.
Because that's what Esther did, right? She said, okay, now what can I do now to help my people?
Yeah.
Because Hammond made that decree, he wrote that decree and put it out in all 127 provinces. So that's like if Obama or let's say Biden now wrote a decree and said, look, told all the governors to put it out in every state that to kill all the Negroes. Understand? Now what we gonna do? Your babies, your children, your wives, everybody's gonna be put to death and hung up. Think about that. I got news for you.
I'm here fallout shelter.
Well, and look, when the Antichrist is revealed, he's gonna do the same. He's gonna try to do the same thing.
That's right.
He will try to do the same thing. Just on a different level. That's all. Hammond was an Edomite.
Yeah.
Hammond had that demon in him too.
Yeah.
He had that demon like at that time an Antichrist.
Oh, you straight up Amalek. Yeah.
Straight up Amalek. And so he was thinking of, what Satan wanted him to do.
Right.
Kill us all off, huh?
Right.
So what do you think is modern day Antichrist going? He's going to do the same thing. And he's coming with different ways to do it. Poisoning you. You got the COVID thing, AIDS, crack,
That's how
Flint,
we
Michigan,
That's how
poison
we
of
got
water.
here. That's how we got here.
Right.
Through the slave trade.
Right.
They really wanted to kill us all off.
So they're going to do it by any means necessary to kill us all off.
Absolutely.
And it's coming.
Absolutely.
That's why it says Jacob's trouble. Jacob's trouble made Israel's trouble.
Right.
It's coming up.
Can I say something, man?
Good.
What you just said earlier. Now, what I in my experience, when I'm speaking to a person trying to bring the truth to them, and can't get through to them, there's other people around listening to you,
Yeah.
trying to convince this person to talk to the person. They're more interested in the person you're trying to get.
Right. You're right.
Then they start coming and asking you questions.
You're right.
So you can't always pick who you want to try to bring over the other side, because other people come to you before you go to them.
You got to be very assertive how you give the information.
Well,
So that-
it's not the point of that. It's just most of the time you're talking to people who don't want to receive it. But there's other people around you here, you trying to get them to receive it.
Okay.
But they're more interested in the person you're talking to.
Yeah. So
They'll come to you.
There's a script.
So you can't always pre-plan the people you go after.
Oh no, hold on. Absolutely not.
Let's get back to
All right,
let's
let's get back.
get back to the reading.
Yeah.
The book of Esther, chapter 5, verse 1. Now it came to pass on the third day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house over against the king's house. And the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house over against the gate of the house. And it was so, when the king saw Esther, the queen, standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight. And the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter. Then said the king unto her, What wilt thou, Queen Esther? And what is thy request? It shall be even given thee to the half of the kingdom. So like he was so infatuated with Esther, she's so beautiful, he want to give her half the kingdom.
Look at how beautiful she was.
He was
Yeah.
sold out.
And Esther answered,
Hold up. And also, what the scripture says that if you, he that pleaseth the Most High will make even what?
enemies be at peace with
Enemies
you.
be at peace with you.
Yeah,
You see that?
that's good stuff.
So that's what we're seeing here. And like at the beginning, this whole thing is unfolding because the wicked woman got put out the way. The righteous woman got brought in so that the Most High moved in pieces to save Israel.
Yep. And then things is working to the favor of her and Mordecai.
Yep.
Yep.
Another thing we need to consider is that this is not about vanity, because women can be beautiful, and we can mistake that this day. But this right here is how submissive and how righteous Esther walked.
Yeah.
That is
Absolutely.
that's what
Absolutely.
that's what-
Absolutely. And that's why I said that she's the Proverbs 31. Yeah. And Esther answered, if it seem good unto the king, let the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet that I have prepared for him. Then the king said, Cause Haman to make haste, that he may do as Esther hath said. So the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared. And the king said unto Esther at the banquet of wine, What is thy petition? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? Even to the half of the kingdom it shall be performed. Then answered Esther and said, My petition and my request is, if I have found favor in thy sight of the king, and if it please the king to grant my petition and to perform my request, let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I shall prepare for them, and I will do tomorrow as the king hath said. Then went Haman forth that day joyful and with a glad heart. But when Haman saw Mordecai in the king's gate, that he stood not up nor moved for him, he was full of indignation against Mordecai. Nevertheless, Haman refrained himself, and when he came home, he sent and called for his friends and Zeresh his wife. And Haman told them of the glory of his riches and the multitude of his children, and all the things wherein the king had promoted him, and how he had advanced him above the princes and servants of the king. Haman said, Moreover, yea, Esther the queen did let no man come in with the king unto the banquet that she had prepared but myself, and tomorrow am I invited unto her as with the king. Yet all that of this availeth me nothing, so long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate.
You see that? How can all these things you're glorying in, which is already off, glorying in these riches, that's Esau for you. But then all these things, that you getting all these things that you glorying in, and it's all messed up just because this man out here won't bow to you.
And this is foolishness, like you already at the highest of estates.
Right.
And you mad at the people that's lowest of the low.
lowest.
The lowest of the low. And you mad at this man that's of the lowest of the low within the kingdom, and you set in this high state, but you just pissed off at him because he a Jew.
Shouldn't even be worried about
Shouldn't
it.
even be worried about it.
Well, that's the perpetual hatred.
That's perpetual hatred.
And Esau worships riches and gold, but that perpetual hatred. Go ahead.
Verse 14, Then said Zeresh his wife and all his friends unto him, Let a gallows be made of 50 cubits high, and tomorrow speak thou unto the king that Mordecai may be hanged thereon. Then go thou in merrily with the king unto the banquet, and the thing pleased Haman, and he caused the gallows to be made.
We're going to end there, but you see that? As the judge is, so is the people.
How high is that gallows?
But
50 feet.
No.
Oh, 50 cubits, Salakia.
A cubit is 24 inches, about.
Yeah.
That's about 2 feet, right?
Yeah.
So 2 feet times
100 feet high. It was
100 feet high.
What did
So
it
everybody,
come off?
that's so everybody see.
He wanted us to be dangling up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's he got? He's a wicked man, and he has a wicked what? A wicked wife, because she's
Yeah.
giving him this counsel.
Yeah.
Just like Ahaz had Jezebel.
That's right.
Jezebel, when Ahaz had a problem, he went to her for counsel the same way, and got what? Terrible counsel. Counsel is going to lead you to your downfall.
He wanted Ku Kluxers. Straight up back then, he wanted Ku Kluxers right there. He wanted to be dangling high, hang them high. Take up.
Take
He's going to
pictures
lose all
with
that,
all
all
the
his
crowd
prestige.
around.
He's going to lose all because of that hatred. He didn't have to even deal with Israel. He was at a high level now, right? And we down there. But because of his hatred, man.
Yeah, he even said that he walked past Maryland that he was promoted, but then when he seen Mordecai, like, this stinking ass nigga.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's how he felt. He just had instant indignation.
That's how they feel.
You know what I mean?
And it's just in the same spirit of them today, man.
Yeah, it is. Like you might see a copy ride by, you
Right.
just ride by, oh, these niggas out here on this corner. Ain't bothering nobody, ain't selling no drugs or nothing, just chilling, minding their business, but just give you that stink face like you stink.
Yeah.
Look you up and down like you short or something.
Stop resisting.
You can see, you can also see now, you can see who the Most High gave wisdom and who he didn't, just by we see how both sides is carrying it out. Esther, who was married to the king, she didn't go in and just offer Moses and say, King Haman, they trying to kill us, and look, I love you, love me so much, put Haman to death. Esther, even with that position, right next to the king, she's using wisdom because the Most High gave Israel wisdom, so she's setting the pieces in order for Haman to fall on his own sword. Haman, he's going back. He has a problem. He has no wisdom because the Most High didn't give the Edomites wisdom. So he's angry. He's at his house bragging about his riches. But, oh, I'm so sad, though, because I got these riches, but Mordecai's out there. He's on the bottom and won't bow to me. And his wife's like, well, go build a gallows. No type of go play this in the background and make their wickedness come out this way. None of that. It's just build gallows. Meanwhile, it's already plays being made with wisdom. That you doing that is going to walk into your own death.
Con, it's stupidity. He don't even realize that Mordecai already got rapport with Xerxes because he didn't stop the plot for him to be killed.
Yeah, right, exactly.
He ain't even realizing this.
In the position, he could have looked that up too.
Yeah.
He's on top. He's got access to all
access,
the records. He didn't do any investigating into
No
the
research.
people.
What he
Even
walking
to see
into.
if maybe Mordecai had some type of like what they do today.
Or
They don't know.
why is Mordecai
Check your
allowed through
tax.
his gate? Why is he allowed here? Don't even know why he's allowed here.
Right.
But you know he's a lowly Jew. Why is he allowed here? He ain't doing no
Just them niggas.
Just them
That
niggas.
nigga. And then forgot that you got in a position. You got 100 different plays you
Walk
can
in
take.
their neighborhood.
But I that nigga.
It also shows you the history of the Edomite woman versus the Jake woman. Because Herod dealt with the same thing when his wife wanted the head of John the Baptist,
That's his
a
daughter.
righteous man, or his stepdaughter.
Yeah.
Right, but here Jake is, and she's just pleading for her people. So historically, the white woman has always played a major role in the destruction of Jake.
Yeah, absolutely.
But give Baruch
married.
336 real quick.
Who?
Baruch
He said
336.
it's an addition to the apocrypha.
Little stuff like this you can see play out. If you ain't paying attention, you won't see it, but it's playing out, and it's that wisdom.
Yes.
Moving in wisdom and who wisdom was given to.
Yeah. Because like we were discussing before about what happened in slavery, the white woman killed more Negroes and slaves than the white man.
She sure did.
So you bring up to date, there's no accident that all these black athletes a lot of them have white women. Okay? So the white woman is steadily still trying to kill
336.
the black man, just like she was doing in slavery. Still the same thing, man.
You said 3 what?
This is the book of Baruch, chapter 3, verse 36.
Yeah.
14.
1436?
You said 436?
Chapter what?
You said 14?
Baruch chapter 3.
3, verse 36, right?
Baruch is before or after wisdom?
After
After Sirach.
After
Before first
Sirach.
Maccabees. Oh, it's before like the 3 children or whatever.
Right after Sirach.
All right, the book of Baruch.
It's 36, like I said. Go ahead.
The book of Baruch, chapter 3, verse 35. This is our God, and there shall none other be accounted of in comparison of him. He hath found out all the way of knowledge, and hath given it unto Jacob his servant, and to Israel his beloved.
You see that? He's given all way of knowledge to who?
Israel his beloved.
See that?
Afterward did he show himself upon earth and conversed with men.
So where you see other nations in there?
You don't see other nations in there. They're going to fall in line under us.
Read the whole chapter. It even tells you he hasn't given wisdom to any other
Yeah,
nation.
but my point is, how come everybody's trying to save all these other nations?
Yeah.
Well, they're going to be saved. They're going to be saved from servitude.
Yeah, I understand that, but just like the word perpetual,
Yeah.
doesn't that mean forever?
Well,
Yeah.
So it means they can never be saved, and we can't save them forever, right?
Well,
Not our job to say.
No, Esau can't be saved.
no, Esau not going to be saved at all.
Yeah, I'm just talking about all the nations. I mean,
The other nations,
they have hate for us too, but
yeah.
they're gonna have hate for us in the kingdom in slavery.
Right.
So it doesn't make a difference.
It's
So how
still
you
gonna be under us.
Yeah. So how are we gonna save somebody and say they got equal salvation?
Right.
You know the
It
answer
don't.
to that.
It doesn't.
You know the
it doesn't
answer
matter.
to that.
Yeah.
Because
Well, I'm talking about-
they still underneath of that blinder. That's
Yeah, but
what
I'm
it
talking
is.
about our people who trying to save them,
Yeah, I'm saying they still underneath of that blinder. That's
but they don't
why.
want to pay attention to the words that are written
Exactly.
down. They go right over the top of the words.
That's why 2/3 is what?
I got a question.
What's up?
When the Israelites came out of Egypt, was it just Israel who came out of Egypt, or was it a mixed multitude?
No, but the mixed multitude did die off though
They got
because
destroyed.
they're
They got destroyed later on.
Yeah, it was a mixed multitude.
like it's
But
just
remember,
coming
they-
out.
yes,
You gotta remember, just coming out and being around is in salvation. There's always going to be nations, but even salvation has a definition. And when the Bible's talking about salvation, it's salvation being saved from your enemies. We're the ones that need that salvation. See,
Can you get numbers?
well, it's 3:00. We gotta wrap up.
I just want to get these two scriptures.
Go ahead, pull it then. Go ahead.
Nah,
Read it.
Numbers 11, verse 4.
Read it.
And then you gonna go down.
Number verse 4.
I got you. Numbers 11, chapter 11, verse 4.
Yeah.
And the mixed multitude that was among them fell and lusted. And the children of Israel also wept again and said, who shall give us flesh to eat?
Then you got.
Where's the part?
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Let's drop to
Go
the
down
part where
again.
they
Down
died.
to 30,
The 34.
Yeah, 34.
Go down to 34.
34. And he called the name of 33. And while the flesh was yet between their teeth, ere it was chewed, the wrath of Yahweh was kindled against the people, and Yahweh smote the people with a very great plague. And he called the name of that place Kibroth Hatavah, because they buried the people that lusted. And the people journeyed from Kibroth Hatavah unto Hazarath and abode at Hazarath. So yeah, the mixed multitude.
That's the mixed
Yeah,
multitude.
it's kind.
And if you go, and also you can go to Nehemiah 13 and 3
Yeah.
about the mixed multitude. So
Right.
that means nothing.
Right, if I say this though, yeah, back then you might have had some Egyptians or whatever that might have went with Israel. But remember, they were still under, they were servants.
Yeah.
They became servants. But now as you bring it to date, when the Most High delivered Jacob from the regions of the areas that he was in captivity, ain't not going to be no mixed multitude coming with us in the wilderness. That's not going to happen. Okay? So you got to remember that mixed multitude, even though they came out of Egypt with us, they became servants and slaves under Israel. They weren't, in other words, the salvation is still for Israel only. Understand?
So my point is they got destroyed.
Yeah.
It was almost like.
So the people make that argument that they came out of Egypt with us as a mixed nation, but they don't talk about how they got destroyed. So that was part of the plan.
Exactly.
It was almost like that mixed multitude came out to be shown as an example.
Yeah.
Because obviously they probably was still holding on to some, idolatry, and some of Israel was, I'm sure, got destroyed with them. Because they was lusting too with them. So it was an example that look, this was going to happen. So that mixed multitude came out really for an example to be shown the power of the Most High.
Yeah.
Because they didn't come over. They got destroyed. quickly.
But my point is,
Yeah, no doubt.
it doesn't add up. They
Yeah,
don't.
they didn't come. They
Yeah,
didn't
hey,
make
let's close this out and then continue that. So, before you cut that off, I want to close out with this scripture in Tobit, chapter 12, verse 8 and 9.
Yeah, go ahead.
The book of Tobit, chapter 12, verse 8 and 9. Prayer is good with fasting, and alms and righteousness. A little with righteousness is better than much with unrighteousness. It is better to give alms than to lay up gold. For alms doth deliver from death, and shall purge away all sin. Those that exercise alms and righteousness shall be filled with life. So I brought that out because as we go into every week, we pay for the room and we pay for things we do with this ministry out of our own pocket. So if it's in anybody's heart online or in the classroom, we could use some help with the class rent, and we use our own money for flyers and other things, like I said, to push forth the ministry. So if it's in your heart to help out, you can give your alms and send them to the Cash App at hashtag Hebrew Chosen Elect. That's Hebrew Chosen Elect. Hashtag Hebrew Chosen Elect. And it's just all spelled the regular, no like Z's instead of S's or whatever. So also, everybody in the room though, we do ask that 25 per how much?
25 every 2 weeks if possible.
If possible, you come here, and then maybe if you get more, we can even get another night. But nothing's required. That's why I brought the scripture. If it's in your heart, you want to give alms.
Yeah, and this is a free will offering. This is not tithing. This is
Right,
a
no
free will
tithing.
offering.
You want to give alms delivered from death.
Great clear that.
Right. So you can send to the Cash App. Also,
But Purim.
Oh yeah, on the 24th we're gonna celebrate Purim. So we'd like to ask y'all to all come and we do a potluck.
What's the date again?
The 24th.
That's what I'm saying.
February?
Shabbat.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Saturday. Is it
February
24th?
This month.
No, March 24th.
So-
sorry.
March 24th? No, is it for
Real
Purim?
quick, remember we're online. So
Yeah.
so anybody that's online, if you're in the
That's
area,
what
if you're in the area, we're having Purim here on the 24th from 12 o'clock until we'll probably get it a little later. The 24th, it's Saturday, 2 weeks from now, I believe. So we're the Hebrew Chosen Elect. This is our Sabbath service that we hold at the Rose Hill Community Center. That's 19 Lamson Lane, Newcastle, Delaware, room 110B, from 12 to 3 p.m. every Shabbat. If you're in the area and you got means to come out, we'd love to have you come out. If not, you continue to watch online. And, hopefully the classes are edifying. And we end by giving all praise and glory.
Hold on. If you'd like to watch this lesson or any of the old lessons that we've done, you can watch the lessons on HCE Reloaded on YouTube or Hebrew Chosen Elect 2 on YouTube. You can watch some of our older lessons as well at Mikael 7 on YouTube, and you can tune in here on Facebook at Rise of the Chosen from 12 p.m. to roughly 3 p.m. And with that, we say shalom.
And all praise, glory, and honor to Howard and Amy Howard Shah, Mashiach. Come, Yashah.
Kum Yashala! Kum Yashala! Kum Yashala!